Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the Maverick channel. And here we've been covering a lot of cryptocurrency content over the years. And we basically talk about a whole range of digital currencies and different blockchains. We look at the trend in the cryptocurrency market. So different things that have been happening. For example, right now we're in a pre-bull market or maybe a fake out where no one's really sure. But if we trace back, first of all, in today's video, I actually want to look at why the Web3 adoption is quite slow, but at the same time, why that might be a good thing and why some people like it and why it might be a favorable environment for us to grow. So, the 4-on-1 is this. So pretty much we have platforms like FTX that have crashed in the past. So that shows us the flaws in the crypto market. If it didn't crash, if the adoption was so fast, then such technologies, such institutions would actually prosper, yet they're not good institutions. They're not doing things the right way. They're not only centralized, but they want to cartel the whole crypto space by getting an unfair advantage through, political advancements and influence and so on, because they feel like they're placed at that right moment and that right maybe geographical location or influence to capture the market on their own. And that's not what crypto is about. So essentially, crypto is about decentralization. It's about democratization of money, democratization of intellectual property, true ownership of property, digital identity, having the ability to sign onto something that's actually yours. So in order not to reinvent the wheel, let's look at the bell curve. And I'm sure you've seen this curve. It's used a lot to look at technological development. It was used in the past to look at farming, but then it was carried on over to technological advancement or adoption. So we have innovators who are normally educated, more educated, they're more prosperous and risk-oriented. Then the early adopters, they're normally they're normally younger, more educated, they're normally community leaders. But obviously, cryptocurrency is it's a decentralized thing. Anyone can use it. It can apply to anyone. So it may not necessarily apply to age. So everything is not one-to-one application. But if you generally look at the people that are adopting cryptocurrency the most, you figure that they're normally millennials and they're not that prosperous just yet, at least the majority. And next, the early majority, they're normally more conservative, they're open to new ideas, active in community and influential in their neighborhoods, or rather on the internet right now. The late majority, they're normally older, less educated, fairly conservative and less socially active. Then the laggards are the last ones. Very conservative, have little property and capital, oldest and least educated. So that curve is known in the technological space in terms of adoption. So we have innovators, early adopters, early majority, the late majority, and so on. So the cryptocurrency space has the greatest and its weakest point of failure or success, which is speculation. If you trace back with Bitcoin in 2009, its launch and so on, the speculation of Bitcoin started with people that were truly excited about the technology. They're excited about the idea of a decentralized network that's accessible to anyone. Anyone in the world with an internet connection can have access to it. You can essentially send value from any point of the globe to any other point of the globe. It's decentralized, it's secure, and ideally scalable. But at least it has decentralization and security. It can solve these fancy things called Byzantine fault tolerance problems, and it solves the problem of double spend problem. So you cannot send funds twice. So, it was a solution to these age-old problems that existed that were truly limiting the propensity to have a financial layer on top of the internet. So in terms of the greatest point, when you have speculation and mix it with that technology, you have people that are excited about the technology, but they're also excited about looking at the economic impact of this technology, the socio-economic impact of this technology as well, and just purely the idea of making money and also making your own technology that could easily influence the world. So as time goes on, all these ideologies kind of start to simmer down or fade off. So how much do people care about decentralization and security? I think that starts to sort of simmer down, and people now mostly care about just the profitability part of it. For example, we've seen blockchains, I'm not going to name any names particularly, that have gone down due to hacks. But some of these blockchains are in top 5 or top 6 or top 10 blockchains in the world today, and they're growing really fast. So that shows you that there must be a gap in education when people look at meme coins, or when people start buying the top because they think cryptocurrencies are recovered. A few years ago, everyone thought cryptocurrency was dead, or at least majority of people that left. Some stayed here, you stayed here. But when Bitcoin started shooting up, then people start coming back. Those people buy at the top, and then when things go down, they lose all the money. So that falls into the realm of speculation. Speculation is good because it brings people. Volatility of the market is good because there's the ability to arbitrage the market. There's potential to make a ton of profit. And also there's potential to reinvent a technology or to invent a technology that could easily influence the world. So there's various potentials. There's various opportunities for all kinds of people, speculators, creators, people that want to start businesses, entrepreneurs. All kinds of people have an opportunity in the space. So speculation, technology, it's a plus, but it's also a weakness. A weakness in the sense that a lot of people get wrecked when things don't work out. So we're looking at a technological barrier as well as one of the other aspects that are slowing down Web3 adoption. But of course, we know cryptocurrency is here to stay. The technology is robust, at least with Bitcoin. It has proven itself secure for over 14 years now. The security works. There's never been a double spend problem. It's now much harder due to the hash rate to hack into Bitcoin. And even if it was hacked, which it would be extremely expensive, developers would just move on to the other chain that is the more legitimate Bitcoin. So you would have lost a bunch of money for no good reason. And we've seen a lot of fallacies within the cryptocurrency space, should I call it. We've seen blockchains like Ethereum that innovated smart contracts. People were able to build decentralized finance, able to sign transactions and create NFTs through different standards like the ER 1155 contracts, 721 contracts, the ICO market. All those had their positives and disadvantages. So Ethereum has innovated a lot, but then we have other cryptocurrencies that are coming in as Ethereum killers. Why do they exist? They exist because they come in as possible solutions to some of the problems that Ethereum has, like scalability, security, so some of the shortcomings on Ethereum. But then you find that the technology is being built within these new technologies, these new blockchains, is pretty much the same as Ethereum. And before they garner massive adoption, before they have a lot of transactions on them, we can't truly know if they'll be scalable or not. We can't truly know if they'll be secure in the face of massive volume and massive activity happening on top of them. We don't really know. So they might find themselves in the same loop, and they might find themselves wanting to adopt or to copy the same technology that's being used today or adopted today to try and scale Ethereum, like layer 2 scaling solutions, rollups, and side chains, and many others. If you've been in the crypto space, you know this. There's things like side chains, rollups, other independent chains that are trying to scale Ethereum, so they handle the transactions and finality happens on Ethereum. So all these things are happening in the cryptocurrency space. When something says it's an Ethereum killer, the truth is it hasn't been tried and tested before. Is it decentralized? Unlikely. Is it secure? Some are actually unsecure. And is it scalable? We don't know yet because they haven't yet had the same volume as Ethereum. So we can't know. So we have a fallacy that is also slowed down developers that aren't exploring other blockchain ecosystems that might have something exemplary or something that's real. Maybe like Polygon or maybe Tendermint from the Cosmos side of things. But these developers have seen Ethereum develop despite its shortcomings like high gas fees. Some Ethereum developers think that the high gas fees on Ethereum are a plus for Ethereum. So you find developers that are stuck in Ethereum, they're really, really smart people, but they're afraid to move on to the other technologies. So recently we had the very popular decentralized derivatives exchange on Ethereum move over to Cosmos because they realized by building their own independent chain using Tendermint, they open themselves to many doors like interoperability within the ecosystem of Cosmos, but then they also have the ability to customize their chain, to have a modular chain which can scale and also be customized to whatever specifications they need, including decentralizing the number of validators or what the validators can do. So they moved on to a proof of stake ecosystem or independent chain, but the validators themselves will be able to validate the transactions that are running onto the exchange. So they're really trying to get into decentralization, and they thought adopting a technology like Tendermint is something that could work for them. I mean, we know a lot of blockchains that have used that technology. Binance, I think also Polygon Network in the beginning used a similar technology. We know other upcoming blockchains like Fetch.ai that moved from Ethereum to Cosmos technology because it gives you more control of what you're doing, and there's more likelihood of heading towards decentralization as opposed to being within a linear structure like Ethereum. So we've had scams in the past. Like we've said, Ethereum has helped the cryptocurrency space evolve a lot, and a lot of cryptocurrencies like Chainlink and Binance that a lot of people really like, they evolved from Ethereum as ICOs, so initial coin offerings. They used the Ethereum technology to create their own tokens and then later moved on to their independent blockchains. So it helped spin off a lot of blockchains, or at least a lot of people to realize that they can easily create their own blockchains, and maybe later they evolved into other things. But we've had scams in that ICO stage. Like, I can give an example like Power I'm not saying it's a scam, but the founders, it was a project that was supposed to democratize power. So in case you have excess power in your house, you could tokenize it using the Power blockchain and sell it on the grid, and you're rewarded in Power tokens. But the founders of this token, the moment it gained popularity and shot up to $1 something way back in 2018, they decided to cash out and let the project die. Essentially, they just abandoned it. I don't know if things got hard or they just made so much money and abandoned it. So such things, that's just one example, but there's thousands of other examples. And also not to mention the NFT space. It's new. It's an iteration of how you can use smart contracts, but also NFTs have gone over to other blockchains like Solana, like Cosmos, like, name any blockchain you like. It has some fair share of NFTs. Some are still struggling to implement it. But the point is, there have been a fair share of scams or rug pulls in the NFT space. So a lot of this slows down the adoption of the Web3 space. But it's all these disadvantages that we're talking about, all these pitfalls, all these terrible events that have happened. For example, they show the bad side of crypto, but they also pave a way for the adoption of new ways of doing things in the crypto space. Like initially, we talked about FTX. We've also looked at Terra Luna. They essentially built an algorithmic stablecoin based off Cosmos Tendermint technology that crashed. But one thing we can look at is that, okay, algorithmic stablecoins really need to be monitored, or they need to be designed properly. Otherwise, the whole thing can crash. But we've also realized that as they were crashing, the other side of the technology of which they are based was still robust and was still working properly. And throughout the whole time, there was a representation of scale because there was a lot of panic, a lot of volume happening on the blockchain, but it was working. So it kind of gave points to the Tendermint technology that it might be able to work in terms of turmoil or in good times, because a similar narrative is reflected on each side. If there's turmoil, it's hard to deal with the scalability. If a blockchain is doing well due to adoption, also scalability issues normally come in. Even with blockchains that are touted as scalable, like the XRP ledger, it had some issues. When a project was actually launching multiple transactions on it, we saw some slowdown on the network. So even projects that you think might be scalable have had some issues in the past. So one of the last points I want to talk about is actually the last point is interoperability. I'm sure there's a lot of other points. There's complexity in the technology, like the adoption of networks in terms of wallets and so on. So Web3 wallets get obviously really complicated in terms of seed phrases, asking people to download seed phrases and so on, keep your own money, you need to do this and this. But at the same time, you tell these people that if they lose their money, there's nothing they can do about it. So all this stuff is scary. But at the same time, if you want to abstract it away and bring back emails and so on, then you're eroding the basis of why we're here. So decentralization, control, self-sovereign identity, and so on. You're bringing in that Web2 element. You're trying to make things easier, but you're bringing in the old technology and sort of pushing this technology at the back. But there's many advantages to that. If you're a central body that's building a product on top of a blockchain, maybe you want to control how transactions are. You're running a shop. You want to make sure if I buy a product, I've received everything in the background of supply chain is all proper. I'm receiving the right product. And then after making sure, guaranteeing that has happened, then you want to push over from escrow the funds to whoever the seller is. So you need to have a little bit of control of that intermediary. So there are advantages to centralizing certain aspects of crypto, but if we can have the base layer on top of which these different blockchains are running, if it's decentralized, then that makes it foolproof and it cannot be taken down. So the last point that I want to talk about is, apart from the complexity I've just covered, is interoperability. So how do all these different blockchains talk to each other? I mean, in the previous bull market, we had the metaverse. People were talking about the metaverse. But how do these different so-called metaverses talk to each other? Can you use the same character in another metaverse? If you want to make a phone call from one virtual reality to another, can you do that? Can they talk to each other? So similar issue within the blockchains themselves, within the tokens. We have bridges now, third-party bridges, where you can bridge a token from one blockchain to another. But we truly need a seamless way where if I send Ethereum from Polygon or from Solana or from Avalanche or from XRP, whatever blockchain, or from some other layer of Bitcoin, if I have Ethereum on top of that layer, let it be the actual Ethereum. Or if the entity in the middle that's making sure I have a 1-to-1 ratio of Ethereum, let that be decentralized. We need a seamless way in which blockchains can talk to each other, not just in token bridges, because that's not enough. We need blockchains to actually transfer value from one blockchain to another, so that when you build infrastructure on one blockchain, it purely talks to another blockchain like as if they're one. So like, HTTP and the different protocols on the internet that enable you to send an email of one provider to a different provider, and you don't need to plug into some third party whatever. You just send the email, the other person receives it. So we need something similar in the crypto space, where you don't need to download a different wallet of another blockchain just because they have a different service, but you can operate everything in maybe not one wallet, but everything sort of seamlessly talks to each other. So we need all those branches of adoption. And obviously we need these technologies to be integrated so well within the internet that, it's abstracting away all the complexities. Anyone that's using it doesn't really have to pay attention to which blockchain they're using, but in the background, they know that whatever they have is theirs. They may not necessarily know why, but it is their property. All of a sudden, they know they can send money across the globe to anyone across the globe. They don't need to be tied onto one application. Maybe that one application helps them, gives them access to that service, but really they don't need anything else. That's all they need. Just like the internet, all you need is your computer or your phone, and just like that, you can communicate with anyone across the globe. So the same thing needs to happen in cryptocurrency, and that's when the world will start taking it seriously. Obviously, the crypto space is here to stay. The crypto space is just developing. We have obviously started with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then there's others, XRP, Solana, Avalanche. There's a ton of cryptocurrencies out there that are doing their own thing. Dogecoins, meme coins, NFTs, and other things that are going to develop, decentralized finance, centralized finance. If we can deal with some of the pitfalls, for example, in centralized finance, exchanges being hacked, in decentralized finance, smart contracts being hacked, not knowing if these things are going to be resilient, if we can deal with all of that properly and take away that unnecessary risk, such that probably the risk mainly lies within the speculation. If you want to speculate onto something, you might lose your money because, well, there's no demand for that particular project. If that's where the risk is, and not in other sort of types of risks like third-party risks or counterparty risks, one blockchain fails and it spreads over to others. If we can find a way of eliminating all that, then of course we'll be tending towards the right direction in terms of cryptocurrency adoption. All right, guys, I would like it if you commented something in the comment section. Let me know if you would like me to clarify on something, or if you want to clarify something with me, I would truly appreciate it. And if you have anything necessary you want me to cover, let me know. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.